Welcome back to episode 6 of the Macramist. If you didn't catch last week's episode, I suggest you take a look because today we are going to be actually building the plant hanger that we designed last week. So if you follow me to this corner of the room, you will see the materials. We have our very, very rudimentary plan that we made together last week and our tools. A pair of nice sharp scissors, measuring tape, and this is cotton rope, 4 millimeters. I think last week I said 4 millimeter inch. That's not a real thing. 4 millimeter of cotton rope, 3-ply. That is how you say it. And as well as your choice of support rings. I think today I'm gonna go with the wooden one. So let's get started. We decided last week that our plant hanger is gonna be 35 inches long. That means that we need about 6 feet of rope. And we're gonna need 8 of these. So what I do is I measure out on the ground here with Nelson. I measure out 6 feet of rope. So, because we don't have a lot of space here, we're gonna just do 3 feet and then double it. Macrame is not an exact science, people. Don't get caught up on making it exact. And I used to actually measure out each piece individual, but then I realized that there's a, work smart, not hard. So if you just fold over and trace to the end, and then fold over again, you can repeat this motion and maintain relatively the same length until you get to the desired amount of rope that you need. So I'm gonna do this 8 times. Stick with me. I lost count. 6, 7, 8. Gonna cut the end and just cut through the loops there. Got them all. So now that we have our pieces cut, we are gonna mount it to our workstation. So before I started doing macrame before I started doing a lot of macrame, I would use anything to support my mounts. If I had coat rack handy, or if I even had a hook in the wall, I would mount the hoop to that and use it as my workstation. But now that I do macrame more, I invested in this, what's it called? Clothes rack, which comes in handy for my pieces. I'm just gonna move this piece out of the way, and I'm gonna mount my hook, my rope. So a good tool is this S hook. I just hook it on, and there you go. You're gonna take your rope and fold it over until the pieces are equal at the ends. Now we're gonna refer back to our design here to see what the next step is. Now that we have our ropes mounted, we see that we have 4 square knots to start with. So let's get started. Okay, so we're gonna start with our 4 square knots as per our design. If you refer back to episode 2, this is where we go over how to make this knot. It will be the main motif for our plant hanger today. Now this is a really rudimentary, small plant hanger. So we're only going to be using 2 patterns as per our design. Okay, great. We started with 4 square knots. Now I'm going to section each side into 4 pieces. Because, okay, referring back to our design, we're going to do 2 square knots. And you can measure out, you know, the distance between each knot to make sure they're all even. I like to feel it out personally. I'm, you know, not really into holding a ruler up the whole time I'm working. It takes a bit of the enjoyment out of it for me. But if you're more technical on the side, when you're constructing your other arms for this plant hanger, feel free to measure the distance of the first side that you've done to make sure that they're even all around. As per our design, let me just take a look at that again. We did our 2 square knots. We're gonna do 2 spiral square knots and then 2 more square knots. So by 2 spiral square knots, I mean that it goes around twice and ends facing the same side. So goes around and facing the same side. Okay, 2 more square knots. Relatively the same length apart. Actually, asymmetry is pretty sexy, so we're gonna do that. Yeah, let's do that. 2. Okay. Now I'm gonna go back in and construct the other sides of the plant hanger. Now that we have 4 sides of our hanger done, we are going to construct the basket. So we're going to take so you're going to take 2 arms that are touching and join the 2 outside cords together. And we're going to just do 1 square knot here, 1 square knot here. So those 2 are connected with 1 square knot, and we're going to do that all the way around, keeping relatively the same length. Okay, so you have your first basket here, and that's good. It could probably hold around a 6-inch pot. You want something flowy and dangling in here. Oh, I have the perfect plant. Okay. Great, and we're going to close off the basket, just 1 more square knot so we get a little more length in there, a little shorter, like this, about half of what you did before. You can see that we're losing some string here, that's fine. You're going to do this all the way around. Okay, fantastic. So that's our basket here, and then we're gonna join them at the bottom with square knots again. So you're gonna join them together and finding your 2 longest cords, you're gonna pull those loose and see where they start. So these are my 2 longest cords. I'm gonna switch it so this is at the back. I just find it's easier to construct a knot if it's coming from behind. So you're gonna gather together all of the pieces like we did at the top, and we're going to redo that square knot pattern to close off the basket. Making sure everything is in there. Not too tight. There we go. And just pull down the pieces in here. Make sure they're all inside. And close off. Square knot. Make sure that's even. That's even. And we'll do a couple more square knots to cover up those shorter pieces. Et voila. So, before you cut, always test it, because you can't turn back after you make that cut. I love that one, it's prettier. Okay. Mini. This is the tiniest plant hanger ever. And here we go. This is the simplest, cutest little plant hanger I think I've ever seen. To finish it off, we're gonna cut at the bottom to make sure that these are relatively even. You can, I don't know, style it the way that you want. So there are two ways you can finish off the fringe at the bottom. You can just unravel all the pieces. This is kind of labor intensive, but it creates a really nice kind of wavy pattern. Okay, so you could leave it like this, or you could get a fine-tooth comb and brush out the ends. This one. Once everything is brushed out or untwisted, I'm gonna make it even again. This one. And voila! An adorable little plant hanger. Thank you so much for tuning in, and if you did this project with me, congratulations. If this was your first macrame plant hanger, now you know the basics. You can construct bigger, better, more complex pieces. Tune in next week. Haven't figured out what we're talking about, but it's gonna be great. You can find me on Instagram at @the_macramist, and have a great week.